Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in again this week. I have a special guest on today, Miss Vanesa Ardell. Did I say that right? Vanesa Ardell.
Andy.
Well, girl, I'm thinking of the eyelashes. Vanesa Andy from the Best Week Ever podcast. And when you talk to people, you don't necessarily think about their last name. Like I knew Vanessa, we've been talking for over a year. So I'm like, right before I was like, Vanessa, what's your last name again, girl?
Also, I did not recently. It's been like a year since I've had a name change. And I have two identification cards because I love my maiden name picture ID card. And my new last name, I don't like my picture. So constantly, if I have to, I'll show the Andy. But I've been showing my maiden name more and more.
And that's what I was getting ready to, because I think I know your maiden name. It's in your email address, right?
Yes.
And that's what I was going to say, but something told me to ask you. So I'm so glad that I didn't, because that's in my brain. I can see it right now, but I was like, let me ask her. Because again, we don't go by last names a lot. So it's like,
yeah.
So I'm glad I asked you. Okay. So y'all,
no.
Vanesa is host of Best Week Ever podcast, where she talks about pop culture, reality TV. I was on her podcast. I keep wanting to say last year, but was it earlier this year? Or maybe
it was earlier in this year. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
Yeah. I have a guest each week and I lose track of when was the last time when I have repeating guests.
Yeah. And Vanesa is long overdue to be on this podcast. So welcome to What Else Is Going On. I am so glad to have you.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So y'all, I'm going to get right into it because, the people, we have things going on after this, the holiday season, so much going on. So I'm going to jump right in. Vanesa, right now, without thinking about it, first one that comes to mind, what is your favorite show airing on Bravo right now, as we speak? What time is it? It's 1:44 my time, 10:44 your time on Wednesday.
I am actually thoroughly enjoying Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Okay. And I am doing a rewatch of Married to Medicine, which literally I haven't seen it in years. So the rewatch is taking me all the way back to wow, it's been years from season 1.
Right. Okay. So are you doing a rewatch while watching this season in real time?
Yes.
That's got to be a mind. Can I just say something? All the women have been beautiful since they've been on Married to Medicine. Gorgeous, beautiful, melanated, funny women. It's also very interesting to me to watch the women in present day talk about Sweet Tea and her looks, and then think about them when they first started Married to Medicine. It's don't get ahead of yourself, ladies.
Oh, yeah. And it was back then, before Botox and anything was literally really popular. I'm looking at first season right now where Toya's telling her husband, she's like, we should have a Botox party. You should get your degree for that. You're licensed. And I was like, your wife is smart. Right. Give her credit.
Because she knew that was what, 10 years ago? Well, you figure the way they filmed it, so probably 11, possibly even 12 years ago. So yeah. she was on it, that this is what's becoming the wave of the future, especially. And I think what was interesting about that is her pushing him to do that for our communities, women of color, Black women, because that is, I know that we do that. So when I say this doesn't speak for all, but it's not something I don't know. I know a lot of Black women, and I don't know. It's not a high percentage that I know that do that, or they're just starting to think about it in their 50s and above. They're just now starting to think about it. So it's not something that they've been doing since they were 20 something years old, the women that I know. So it's just interesting how 10 to 12 years ago, she was like, you need to do this,
And normally I don't trust Toya, but when it comes to business endeavors, She's really smart. Like I love her partnership with her husband. It's a little bit questionable, but like I just love how she
Ooh.
is pretty much like, I know this is what you need to do.
Okay, so let's get into that. Let's start with Married to Medicine then, since we're here. So you said you normally don't trust her, and the partnership with Dr. Eugene is questionable. So give me a little bit more of that.
Because I know I've heard you talk about this too, where it's his business is kind of like, was it like an MLM or it's just like
His.
is it, I'm using the wrong term, not MLM, but it's not, it's, I don't know. It's I'm
Are
losing
we
the
getting into our
term.
first fight? No, I'm just joking.
No. Of like
I'm
I
kidding.
feel like I'm messing this up already,
No.
but I just I'm like lost now of like the business with him being questionable because it has been kind of because I'm messing up. I'm so sorry.
You mean in terms of like in terms of how they spend their money, or because I feel like what he does is definitely legit, but in terms of maybe how they spend their money, and I know people have questioned, well, what else does she do besides,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I'm also getting it confused because I have been watching Real Housewives of Miami as well, and I've
Oh,
been caught up all the way. And Nicole
yes.
really worries me with Anthony.
Yes, yes. And I have definitely have heard that too. People are like, how does he make all this money? And I believe she's
Yeah, yeah.
talked about he's had investments. And, it's funny jumping over to Miami really quick. I think it's interesting because you can do one investment that changes your entire life and then you build on that. So who knows if that's happened to him? Who knows if his family had a little bit of money before and he flipped it or whatever? I'm just glad that if something were to happen between her and him, she could move out and live on her own, even if it wasn't at that particular lifestyle. She still would be able to provide a good lifestyle for herself. I definitely feel like.
It does help that they're not married as well, because then she can definitely pick up and leave whenever she can. Because I do think that she's smart enough to like put away on a rainy day kind of a thing,
Mm-hmm.
like unlike Lisa, unfortunately, it's really sad to like what's happening to her, but she
Right.
is not able to just like leave,
Right.
unfortunately.
She can't just be like, you know what? I'm gonna let the court sort it out, but I can take care of myself while it's happening. Right.
Right, right.
All right. So we'll go to Miami next. But back with Married to Medicine. So I'm sensing that my girl Toya. No, I'm saying my girl Toya. No, but I'm sent out of all of the ladies, is she the one that kind of like gets under your skin the most?
No, not
No.
really.
Oh, okay, okay.
No. I mean, I am rewatching season 1 and
Okay.
Carrie really has been, yeah, it's really bad.
And it's interesting because Carrie came back last season, remember, and kind of dropped the bomb about Toya allegedly saying there was a hit out on Anila. And so Carrie, even though she hasn't been there, like the ghost of Carrie has been in Married to Medicine. And even Dr. Heavenly, when she does her recaps, she continues to say that Carrie brought this information, but Toya is only upset because Quad has said it on camera. And I'm like, I think Quad has said a lot on camera. They both have, right? They both have. But one thing I do appreciate is with this last episode, with them being in the funeral home, Quad and Toya got into it during the rebirth. And then at the repath, they were able to sit next to each other, still got into it, but then also it was an awkwardness, but it wasn't an awkwardness. It was like they went back and forth and the pointing in the hands, get your hand out of my face, don't touch me. Then Dr. Heavenly made a joke about sweet tea and they all are laughing. That's a big difference from what we see on Potomac. There is no, I'm not going to engage with you. Even if we're getting engagement with Quad and Toya, even though it's arguing, they're all still they're invested in the betterment of the show. And I feel like that's what Quad meant when she got out of the casket and was like, I'm willing to, when Dr. Simone said, do you see us all as equal? And she says, I'm willing to work with you ladies to achieve what needs to be achieved, i.e., I'm willing to work with you ladies to make this show a great show because I need my check.
That, and they have history too, like Quad and Toya, like going back to like season 1. I'm sorry, I'm just so like invested with their friendship that like, you know, with the whole wedding when Quad got married and Toya declined 2 weeks ago, and then that was like a whole fight. I just really do think that they like to banter with each other. And yeah, and if it's with a check, they're like, why not?
Right.
Let's laugh about it. But like the Potomac really has been bumming me out this season. I feel like they're allowed to have a bad season, Potomac. Leave the girls alone right now. But it is really hard to see who's not talking to who. Like they can't be together in this environment and or in this room setting. It's just like I'm getting really upset with not the women, but just like the general tension that you get from the women when you're watching the show.
Yeah. I'm disappointed because I feel like the last couple of seasons have all been about, oh, I'm going to talk about this rumor. Oh, let's expose this person. Oh, and it's not been like, even with the Married to Medicine last season, with the whole rumor about Quad and her contractor and Toya and someone in the neighborhood, it was still more story than just that. I felt like it wasn't like I'm going to come on the show and bring this rumor and then walk off. And you know what I mean? Like my job is done. I feel like we get more heart and soul with Married to Medicine and more fun. Like this episode was absolutely insane, ridiculous, and I loved every second. Like, how did you feel? Like Quad popping out of that casket? Girl, I'm all for shenanigans and dramatics. I'm gonna tell you right now, I could never. You are not putting me in a casket. I wouldn't care if the top was open. I'm not getting in a casket. But how did you feel about this episode overall?
Well, I haven't seen the latest episode, so but I like to read on Twitter like all the updates before I watch the show. So like I don't mind about the spoilers at all whatsoever.
And I'm sure you've seen the clips.
Yes, I have. And the fact that like Quad is just coming back with Sweet Tea, knowing that Sweet Tea is in the house, that in her former lair, really just like I really want to pay homage to like whoever is producing the show, because you can literally tell like they must have had these producers on for a very long time for them to have like a relationship with these ladies, for them to even have them be in a casket. So let's start there with a producer going like, we're going to have you come back and you're going to be in this and I can see it happening right now.
Yes, like, oh baby, that's what you want me to do. You want me to go lay down for the people? Like, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's how do you feel Phaedra is with the group of ladies? Do you feel like she's a natural fit? Do you feel like they're trying to make her fit? Like, how do you feel?
I feel like Phaedra is, what she does really well is she fits in whatever, like Real Housewives of Ultimate Girls Trip. I thought she was awesome in that season. She's done crossover before Married to Medicine, besides the Real Housewives of Ultimate Girls Trip, right? I'm like
Dubai
on which
with Dubai.
Yes. I feel like she just really fits in, and I don't mind seeing her on the screen, whether it's like her against Candy or her with the women in Married to Medicine. I feel like she's kind of a good fit in it. Although I have to say she likes to add mess, which is like what I like.
Yes, she's
my shows.
What is it? A chameleon where she blends, which is good and bad. When you're like in real life, it's like, so then who are you? You know, but she knows how to get into she knows how to slither on into any space that she's in, like you said. And just when you watch the episode this week, you'll see a scene with Dr. Heavenly and Quad, and they're going back and forth, and Phaedra is literally eating her watermelon, just like, but the faces and just her presence, everything about it is funny to me. So I am enjoying her. And I wonder, I would bet it was probably her idea, and her and Quad and with the producers about her Quad getting into this casket
Oh,
and coming out.
100%. Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you yeah, I can see that happening too.
What do you think about Dr. Heavenly? Because I feel like the internet can be split about her. The viewers can be split about where they fall with her. What do you think about her and what because she definitely brings something to the show, but what do you think about what she brings?
Um, Honestly, I feel like there's times where I'm 50-50 too, where like I hate her and love her, but at the same time, like she's not like a favorite, but she is like a necessity in the cast. You know, if that makes sense.
Yes, she's needed. She may not be
Yeah.
a favorite. It's almost like, I mean, she's better than flour, but you know, when you're making a cake and you got to bind it together, you know what I mean? Like she's definitely needed. She has said before that she doesn't feel like you can take any of the women out of Married to Medicine. They're like a cake. They're very much all needed. And I agree with her on that aspect.
Like the pie.
Yes. And we're not freezing half of this pie. We want it all to be thawed out. And I'm really enjoying Married to Medicine this season. What do you think about how the ladies are kind of coming in with Sweet Tea? Because there's moments when I feel for her, like, and I wanted to be like, girl, stand up, like, like don't let them. And then I'm trying to look at it like, okay, some of these ladies like Dr. Heavenly, they're thinking about the show, making moments for the show. And they're very different in the way they do it versus some of the ladies on Potomac where it's so obvious. And so, but with them, it all kind of just flows. So I kind of look at it from their lens too, like, okay, this is going to make a good story. So what do you think about the ladies' relationship with Sweet Tea?
It's really shady. To me, it's just like really shady where I'm just like, why can't they just have a sit down with her and just like lay it all with, you know what I mean? Like just go back. And I feel like there's need to be someone to just be on Sweet Tea's side, unfortunately. But yeah, I just wish there was just someone to like give her an intel of what's going on and like so she can catch the shade or like, the witty comments that she gets thrown at her sometimes, because she doesn't really do anything, like you said. She's just like, okay, like I don't know.
This upcoming episode, well, the episode that you're going to catch up on, you'll see that she said a little something. I wish she had have still spoken up. She kind of like gets, since you said you don't care about spoilers, but she kind of gets up like she's walking over to Heavenly. And to me, when people on shows or even in real life, when you get up and you advance towards, for me, most of the time, it's like, oh, so somebody's getting ready to fight. So I wish she had still went like, said what she said and meant what she said, but maybe not had him, you know what I mean? Because unless to me, if you're walking over to me, like you jumping up, I need to be then ready because I feel like something is coming my way. So I don't think that Sweet Tea was get ready to snatch Heavenly.
No.
But at the same time, I'm glad that she didn't just let her say whatever she wanted. I get a little bit disappointed in Heavenly because on the show, she's kind of showing two sides of herself. Like, Sweet Tea, I love you. He. I love you, girl.
Yeah.
But then you're saying all this stuff instead of just being upfront with her. And then the after show, her YouTube channel, she's saying a lot. And to me, it's disrespectful. She's calling her this little girl, this little girl, that, this. And to me, I'm like, how could you ever think y'all are going to come back from that? And the way she says it is, Dr. Greg should have told Sweet Tea that she was going to get ate up her first season. We all went through it, but then you just come back stronger. But why does it have to be that way then? Since you're this, because she keeps framing it as Sweet Tea is this kid, she's just a young girl, and they're the older women, then why can't it be each one teach one? Why do you have to shade her and participate in the tearing down of her in order for her to get the lesson, right? So
they're not
that's what
giving
I
her
don't
a
like.
chance. Yeah,
School her.
exactly.
They could be the one schooling her on camera.
Yeah, and it would be a better storyline instead of the whole shadiness where I'm just like, can someone just please like inform her?
Yeah, like
just like a little bit.
even at the bridal shower when she was like, "You think they're going to get married?" Her acting like that. It could have been very much. She could have been like, "Sweet, got up, sweetie, get yourself together." This is not. If she was saying all of that to her, that would be something different. Instead of acting as if you're coming out of concern for her, and then turning around and displaying the complete opposite. Because I think in real time they're not really getting along, from what it seems like. Because Heavenly, if you watch her after show, for those of you that don't know, Heavenly and Carlos King do a recap of the show on Mondays. And some of the stuff she said, I was actually going to do a YouTube video about the latest one, because I'm like, I don't know how the woman fool with you. And that's when I go back and forth with Heavenly. Like, I don't even know how they're cool with you after these
Yeah.
YouTubes.
I haven't seen it, but like I can only imagine what she's probably saying.
Girl, you would be ready. I would be ready to be like, come outside. We're not going to jump you. I just want to talk to you about some of the things I'm seeing, because you don't say it when you see me. So, but yeah,
because you're all like chummy. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I'll say this: we notice, right, that Quad seems to be clearly separated from the group. So Dr. Heavenly said that they don't hear from Quad when they're not filming. She just recently said this. She said the last time they had talked to Quad was reunion last year. I don't know if you caught it, but in some episodes previous, I think it was Phaedra, Heavenly, and Dr. Jackie. And Dr. Jackie says she reached out to Quad, but Quad was basically like, don't reach out. Like, basically, don't call me, I'll call you. So she hasn't. But then we see Quad talking about how no one in the group reaches out to her. So Heavenly was like, we don't even see or hear from her. So she basically separates herself from the group. Like, how are your feelings about Quad and how she's mixing with the rest of the ladies?
I mean, that right now is like already not great. I mean, like I love Dr. Jackie and I can totally see her reaching out to Quad and then like Quad saying that she didn't get any. I can see her either like ignoring, not even reading like the message, and she just, I don't know, part of me probably thinks that Quad wants, I mean, like her ex-husband's new wife is on television and she has to film with her. I really do think that she wants to be like, look, like for me, like nobody reached out for me, like I've been on my own, you know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of working because I do really feel bad for Quad this season and like her coming back. I love watching her and I think she's really, I mean, like I personally like Quad. So like I feel like I'm giving her a lot of leeway, but I liked seeing her back on the screen.
Yeah. She and I think they all just make for good TV. It just, to me, Quad always comes from a place of what everybody did to me. And I always think back to how you wanted these women to pick a side with you and Mariah. And these grown women literally took a vote to isolate, i.e., get Mariah off the show. They did that for you, but they have to continue to prove their allegiance to you time and time and time again.
Yeah.
So, and when she got on Sister Circle, I feel like did you watch those seasons where she was, filming?
No.
Okay. So as you move through, you'll see she was on a talk show that's no longer on, but it was the Sister Circle and they filmed it on the show. And she had those ladies come on the show and she'd be like, these are my sisters. These are my friends. And not the other ladies. I do also understand how she probably didn't feel supported with her and Gregory in their divorce, because the ladies felt like, oh, he wants a baby, give him a baby. Oh, he wants this, you need to do this. So I get both sides of it. But at this point, it's like, y'all have moved so far beyond that, I would like to think, because at one point, all of you were hanging out together off camera. So I don't know, but I'm still very excited on Sundays. To watch, even though sometimes I prefer Peacock the next day than watching it live. Like I'm paying for cable and I'm still watching everything Peacock the next day, just so, no commercials, no anything. But I'm excited about Married to Medicine this season and what else is coming. Dr. Heavenly has said there's a lot more that's coming. Like this whole sweet tea, like focus will get shifted to other places.
I'm excited for the reunion as well. I'm always excited. Like a lot of like the Housewife franchises, I skip on the reunions, like Beverly Hills, but like Married to Medicine is like one that I get my popcorn ready.
See, and I'm one that the reunions make my stomach hurt because I feel like, of course, they can't address everything, right? They may film for 10 hours, but they have to cut it down. And that's what makes me like, I don't like the reunions because somebody could come out and, for instance, and I always go back to this, on Potomac, not last season, but maybe the season before last, people made fun of Dr. Wendy with a poster board with her phone bill receipt. I got what she was trying to do, but of course we couldn't get into that. You have Giselle saying, Dr. Wendy saying, you could have talked to me about this rumor. You talked to me before the season. We could have talked, you could have brought this rumor up to me. Giselle saying, I did call you. We had a long conversation. Now we know that Giselle ain't no putting sauce on it. She lies. So she says, so she's saying we had a long conversation. We had a long conversation in these different interviews is what Giselle is saying. Basically saying, I looked after her, I this. So Dr. Wendy brings a phone bill like, girl, we literally talked for 63 seconds. How is that? What could you possibly have said to me? But of course, you're at a reunion. You can't address that. So then the proof comes off looking corny when it's like, no, I got what she was doing. So for that reason, reunions to me are like, even in the latest episode of Potomac, and people are like, Wendy should not have read, like it didn't make Wendy look good to read what her mom said about Mia. Oh, on the contrary, to me, Giselle didn't, if you notice, Giselle was getting ready to say something that wasn't said on social media. So Wendy's like, nah, let me read, whether it makes me look good or not, let me read it for you, because we know Giselle has a tendency to leave things out or lie or say something completely different. So
I wish Wendy can be like, this is my mom's doing. Like, I wish you wouldn't blame me on what my mother is like putting out on social media. Because like, I feel like we would all be relating to her knowing that we all have some wacko parent that likes to just like butt in or like tell their 2 cents when they like go to social media defending their child. I kind of wish, I don't know if it's because like she just wants to show respect to her mother, but I kind of wish she can just like, hey, separate me and my mom from this situation. Like,
Well, since we're here, since we've talked about Married to Medicine, we're both loving these seasons, we can move right in to Potomac. So yeah, I wish that Wendy would do that too. Candace tried to do that at pickleball last week with Nneka, when she was like, well, what does Wendy's mom, doesn't have anything. Wendy, basically that was Wendy's mom's doing. So you did say earlier that you were disappointed pretty much in the season overall. What are the reasons for your disappointments with how the season is going thus far?
I mean, I want to give Nneka a chance, but her coming in hot about like the unfollowing and following with Happy Eddie on Facebook and like having her husband be involved in, I don't like it when husbands are involved in like these sort of episodes sometimes. But yeah, I just don't like it just starting off like that. I'm like, Nneka, this is probably a one and done season for you, because it's not looking like her storyline. I can care less now because of how she's coming in hot with her side of the story of whatever happened between her and Wendy.
And isn't it interesting to me? She's like, I'm not clout chasing off Wendy. Every single episode you've been in, you've had a conversation with someone about Wendy. Instead of, you talking about you wish you would have had a conversation with Wendy, you went and had lunch with Robin to talk about this, and you didn't go to Wendy. To me, it would have been more compelling or interesting to watch you sit down with Wendy and say, Wendy, I thought, we were good. I know we don't know each other. And that's another thing. They have both said, we don't know each other. They have both said, we know each other. Wendy has said, I knew you in passing. So they are both saying the same thing.
Same thing. Mm-hmm.
And I see the argument on, of course, on social media. They see Wendy's lying about knowing LeBay. I think that's how you say her name. So my apologies to anyone listening if that's not how you say her name. But LeBay, who's not even on the show, when Candace said, Candace asked her a question and Wendy said, I don't know her age. That's my sister's friend. She didn't say, I don't know her. She said, I don't know her age. That's my sister's friend. And I feel like we know from the bottom of my toes on up, we've seen displays of colorism on Potomac, hands down. I also am not saying that is the absolute reason why people may not like Kandi or Wendy. You just may not like them, just like you may not like Giselle, you may not like Robin, you may not like Karen, you may not like any of them, right? So I'll say, though, I feel like the audience can be very unfair to Wendy at times, and they hold her to a different standard, and they use her having degrees as an excuse. She has 4 degrees, so she shouldn't have cussed out Giselle. She has 4 degrees, so she should be smarter than this, when in reality, she's a human with human feelings. So does she fumble and mess up? Yes. All the women do. Can she sometimes come off as inauthentic? Absolutely, yes. All of them can, especially, and I'm going to say it, Giselle. So it doesn't, I guess she doesn't irritate me like she may irritate some other people, but I do feel like watching it, she had an issue with Robin and Giselle. And to me, it very much feels like Nneka came in, whether Nneka knew she had an assignment, but it seems like she's on assignment to be an agent of chaos for Wendy.
The first person she like had a meetup was with Ashley. Like, if Nneka really wanted to like come in this season, like saying I have no beef with Wendy, like it would have been great to see a luncheon with both of them, Wendy and her, like getting introduced to the ladies. But instead, like it was just very like right from there when she had that get together with Ashley, I was like, oh, this is the drama. This is the plot line for this season.
You saw it right away.
Yeah, I did. Just because like especially knowing both Nneka's and Wendy's backgrounds, I literally thought that they would have came together and been like, oh my God, let me introduce you to the ladies. But it was not that. I mean, I totally side with Wendy saying like, I know her, but not like that. You know what I mean? I feel like I saw a clip explaining Wendy's side and I kind of like agreed with it, because I can see they're both saying the same thing, where they're just like, I know of her, but not, I don't know her, you know?
Right. And even the Facebook thing. And I think it's interesting that Robin's whole thing about her and Juan from last year was, it happened off camera. Why would we bring it up? Okay, so this thing with Nneka and Wendy's family happened where? Off camera. So why are you having conversation with her? You know what I mean? Even though she's the one that brought it up, I just think it's interesting the things that these women deem, I guess, the story, thinking that the audience is maybe they, I feel like they almost think like the more drama it is, the more the audience will be invested in the show. But to me, it's like, this type of drama I'm not interested in seeing, when you can see clear as day that, okay, y'all don't get along with Wendy, y'all don't like Wendy, but now we have this new person in here who knows Wendy doesn't know Wendy, who Eddie allegedly unfollowed her husband. And that's another thing too. People are like, they were Nigerians and they went to the same school and they were in the same club. What does that mean? There are people that I talked to on social media and seen at BravoCon, and we didn't have any conversation. And I've talked to them on multiple occasions. Some of them been on the podcast. You know what I mean? So it's like, that doesn't mean anything.
I don't have Facebook anymore, but I knew at a time where I was just adding friends because like I knew them from like they're a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, or I met them at a party that one time and you know they were there, so I'm gonna friend them. Especially Facebook. I'm just like, how long has, like, let's be real, how long has Eddie been on Facebook? It has to be like 15 plus years, right?
Right,
Like,
right. And
that's a lot of friendships that you probably don't even like go through one by one. And you're just like, I know this person, I know that person. Like, it adds up to like 1,000 plus people. Like,
girl, like there were people that I'll never forget friended me on Facebook. And then when I'd see them at church on Sunday, didn't speak. Like, no, why? You know what I mean? Like me and my husband would literally talk about it and be like, now we know they saw us, but you all in my Facebook, huh? You know what I mean? Like, okay.
Yeah,
So yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like this type of drama, like it, like you said, maybe they're trying to be relatable with it being Facebook and like, but it's not the type of drama that we want to see, like you said.
No, and it's interesting. I'm glad that Candace called out Giselle and said she thinks that if she ignores me, then I'll go away, i.e., off the show. I go back to season 5 when people were upset. They were like, all the ladies, after the fight are trying to ice out Monique. So she's not on the show. But there was a moment when Ashley had a sip and see at her then apartment or sweatbox, as Karen called it. And Monique said about Candace, she needs to be on ice. Basically, we need to not talk to her and then maybe she'll learn her lesson. There is a history of this group not speaking. They did it to Karen. And I'm glad that Karen called it out this season. Like Giselle feels like if she doesn't say Candace's name, then, and that to me is like, you ain't got to like her. Again, I go back to Married to Medicine. You'll see in this episode, Toya and Quad got into it heavy, do not care for each other, but it didn't feel weird or awkward to me. It didn't feel like what I see on Potomac. And I'm honestly not even really that interested in watching anymore. Like I for me, that's how it is for me. I'm just like, if this is going to be the same going forward, and then now people are like, oh, bring LeBay on the show. Because it's already starting off a certain kind of
Yeah,
way.
because now it's going to be like the Wendy and Nneka like feud show, and I kind of want to know more about like, it's probably boring, but like Giselle and her daughters and her going through her drama with dating Jason, right? Like I want to know more about like,
do you think it's
no,
real?
not really, but I would like to see it on screen.
Yeah.
Just to see the chemistry.
Fair.
But like this whole drama, like, no, I'm not here for it. Same, I don't know if it's like a thing that the ladies all talk about in the franchise of like what to do to ice out, like kind of the Lisa Rinna method. I don't know if they like all talk to each other, because the fact that they're now doing that with Monica on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City too, I'm just like, is this a thing that they all like do? It's like, oh, you just gotta like ice them out and like they'll go away. I
go back to after that season of Atlanta, the 4-part reunion, and Portia said what Phaedra is the one that told her what Todd and Candy were allegedly, wanting to do to her. And I remember Andy saying, Bravo did not get rid of Phaedra. He did an interview. He was like, Bravo didn't get rid of Phaedra, but when the cast won't film with you, then what story do we have to tell with you and with you within the ladies? So the ladies know that if half the cast is not going to film with you, then basically what story do we have? And I remember 2 seasons ago, I think it was the season with Nicki Minaj when she hosted some of the Potomac reunion, Karen was saying to Candace, I'm concerned for you, because if no one wants to, and she didn't use the word film, but if you go back, it was, I forget the word she used, but basically she was saying, I'm concerned if nobody's going to film with you, then you won't have a job, which is interesting because you called HR on her season 5. But anyway, so these ladies know, I mean, even going back as far as with Mariah on Married to Medicine, when they all, so it's like, they know all they have to do is not talk to someone. And I know people are saying half the cast doesn't like Wendy. It's not colorism. It's not this. It may not be that, but I think what irritates me is that Giselle puts herself in a victim spot for the safety of my kids and me. Yeah. I'm not going to engage with you.
And I was so happy when Candace like came back and like, oh, kind of like what you went after to my marriage and my potential like kids and like in the burden that I had to go through, right? Like I was like, thank you, thank you. Like, can you let her get it? And she was like, okay.
That's
the end.
Chris did an interview. It was either, because Chris and Candace, of course, did several interviews, but I believe it was Chris who did an interview. And when their kids' teachers watched the show and sent concerning emails about after Giselle said what she said. So it's like you affected someone's life. You literally continue to talk about every season. You have brought up a rumor. These people have children who can get on social media too, but you're concerned about it. So I get them not liking Wendy, but they put themselves in the position of victim. So it's like, I'm not going to interact with you because you're harmful to my family when you drew blood first.
Yes.
So now it's an issue. I feel like it's production needs to step in. I feel like.
Yeah, because it's definitely a divide right now.
Yeah.
As much as like they're all together, there's the tension right there where I'm just like, I don't feel great watching my show right now.
Mm-hmm. And even Candace, even having that conversation, which is being mature enough to have the conversation when you said what you said about my husband. And I just want to go back to something too, because I see people are still upset about Candace calling Giselle out, saying with your white looking, you sit up here on this platform, using. I think people forget that Ashley pretty much said the same thing season 1 at a reunion. Ashley did interviews with Bravo TV and said that Giselle tries very hard to look European on this platform. She did an interview back then. And then her and Katie both jumped on Robin and Giselle and talked about them wanting to appear a certain way and being obsessed with the way they look. And I know y'all are tired of me saying it, but I'm going to say it again. On a podcast episode that they did earlier this year, that I made myself go and listen to this episode to verify information. Carlos King was on the episode. He talked about why he thought Potomac eventually became successful. And Giselle said she thought it became successful because the world had not seen light-skinned, green-eyed bandits, Black educated women. So to me, Candace said what she said to you about using your skin color as privilege. Ashley, even though she's on a different side now, has said the same. Katie said the same. You sat on your own platform and attached currency to the color of your skin and the lightness of your eyes. So I just feel like the audience sometimes forgets that. And I've seen people comment that this was interesting to me. I've seen a white woman comment that Candace should not. How can she basically speak to colorism and Giselle using her lighter skin for privilege when she's married to a white man? So she didn't respond to me. I asked her, I said, so because she's married to a white man, she can't speak to her experience with colorism, with being a Black woman. So does that mean women who are married to men cannot speak about the misogyny they've experienced at the hands of men? That makes no sense. And I just feel like, come on, y'all. Like, and these are the type of conversations that Potomac brings up.
I do love that that Potomac brings those types of conversations, because those are conversations that a lot of people don't know about. Like you've said it on your show before, where like a lot of white women are not around Black women. So this is like their show of being closer to like knowing what Black women go through every day. And yeah, the fact that Giselle is trying to show that to the world, it's so disturbing, and it's horrible too. Just the fact that 4 women out of the cast that you just named is saying that she is always bringing this up. Like, why not talk about it? Why not speak about it then? And that's like they really don't want to.
And Giselle had conversations about her Blackness in season 1, but with other women that look like her.
Right.
Now you have 2 women on the show that don't look like you. I mean, of course they're Black, but their experience in the world is different from your experience as a Black woman. Giselle said on the show in season 1, her kids used to think she was white. So it's like, wow. But now you don't want to have these conversations. I just think that is interesting. And I get, as an audience, as a viewer, and you could probably speak to this too, but I know sometimes I do take a step back and say, okay, wait a minute. Do I truly think that this is happening? Or is it something that I went through and this particular thing has triggered something in me? Because we do have to ask ourselves that as an audience. And I think you're right. I think it is good that conversations can come out of these shows that we watch, right? Because you learn things. I've learned things about different cultures by watching these shows and have had very interesting conversations. But it's just, coming up is one thing, but to be what I feel is like the backdrop is like, I don't know. And then with the Nigerian culture and what is going on, I'm like, I don't want this culture, religion. I don't want this to be the backdrop. And let's say, and I know people may say, well, it wasn't against somebody, but I used to attend Jamal Bryant's church and have heard him say many times praying about Holy Ghost fire. You know what I'm saying? So for Giselle to say, and you notice she said, I called him and he said, Giselle, that's some demonic SHIT. Oh, so that's what the pastor said to you? He said those words to you? See, this is what I mean about her lying. I don't believe it. I mean, she's also the one that said Jamal supported her at the reunion, season 5. He supported her being on the show, da-da-da. And then we have him doing a video saying that was the bone of contention in their relationship, was her being on the show. So I don't believe nothing that she says. But I don't know. It just feels icky to me. And you don't want anybody to lose their job necessarily, but if things don't change, they need to do some type of shakeup. What do you think about a potential shakeup or a very hard production sitting down? Well, I can't even say production sitting down with the ladies because production is putting this together.
I know. I was just thinking the same thing. Like, what can we do to save this show? I mean, like I said, can they have a bad season? They've been giving us good seasons so far. I feel like this season is really a slump, and I like bringing someone new, but it would have to be someone that because the fact that I forgot who brought in NECA. Was it Ashley that brought in NECA?
It was supposed to be Ashley, i.e. production, but yeah, Ashley.
Stop! Can we stop getting friends from Ashley? Can we get a friend from Candace or Wendy to be on the show? Because the fact that Ashley brought her into the cast, I'm like, well, red flag right there. I'm like, that's a production's fault. This is why the season is. It's we like to blame the ladies all we want, but when we think about it really clearly, it's the production's fault of bringing someone that's trying to bring in drama, but it was petty, messy drama that's not really giving. But I don't know I wouldn't know if they need a shakeup because I wouldn't want to reboot. I don't know if they would just have to divide right now and have them bring a couple more ladies. Or maybe take who would you take out from the cast right now, NECA included? I would say NECA, yes, but who would you take out from the cast right now for next season? And they can potentially come back as a friend of, they just get, their title taken away.
I would take out Giselle, and I used to really like Giselle and Robin, and I don't even really I think some of the things, especially with Giselle, she does is whack and trash. However, I'm not saying she's trash, but some of her behaviors, I would take her out simply because think about last season when Giselle didn't go out with them. Giselle went back to, they had all this blow up in Miami and Giselle's in the middle of things. And then Giselle goes back to her room and all the rest of the ladies went out. And what happened? They're taking shots. They're laughing. They're having a good time. To me, she stunts the cast. And it would, because people say they would take out Robin to see Giselle with the group. I would take out Giselle and I want to see Robin. I do believe even when Wendy and Robin made up last season, Giselle didn't like that. Giselle and Robin had a conversation the night after they went out. And you can very much tell that Robin didn't necessarily want to get into how her and Wendy made up, right? So I do feel like if you take Giselle out, it forces Robin to kind of navigate these friendships on her own without the security of Giselle, right? And then we take out the person whose main storyline has been bringing up rumors, except for this season, it came through Ashley, but Giselle and Ashley. So I would take out Giselle, and I may even take out Ashley. When I think of her, I think of when Candace said her and her breast milk came down, started havoc, and then left in less than how many hours. I wouldn't mind taking Ashley out either, and to see how the group comes together. And I will say this, as far as when you said, can we stop getting friends from Ashley? I saw another comment that said Wendy was selfish because she wouldn't bring NECA in. I don't think it was selfish if that's not my friend. As we can see, Wendy does bring her actual friend in, Kiarna. So if somebody came to me, if production came to me and was like, hey, we want you to introduce, I'm bringing in my homegirl. This is the one I sent to you. I bet this is my actual friend. So
someone I actually know.
And who will have my back on the show. Because let's be clear, everybody wants somebody to have their back on the show. But I would, if I had to pick just one, I would say remove Giselle. But if I could pick two, I would say remove Giselle and Ashley, and let Ashley be a friend of who
I
hops in.
Co-sign that, because I really do agree with you that Giselle, let her have like a season off. Ashley, friend of, and yeah, we'll see all the girls come together. And it's kind of like, not to get off topic, but like Real Housewives of Salt Lake City without Jen Shah. I am actually liking Whitney, which I did not like Whitney at all. But like, you do see the ladies acting a little bit more differently this season because they don't have like this person who literally everybody was on guard with.
Well, speaking of, so we've talked about Potomac and who we would remove. Oh, is that who you would remove, or who would you remove?
Oh no, I would remove Giselle 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Just to kind of do
and keep NECA on too, because like I know I'm probably coming out as a NECA hater, but I would like to see her redeem herself in the second season and step away from like this messy, petty mess.
Right. Without coming in. Again, I just think it's funny how she's like, I'm not using Wendy to clout chase, and every episode has been about you, Wendy, in this. And yeah. Hearsay what somebody supposedly said, right? So, well, transitioning into Salt Lake City, you are loving this season of Salt Lake City. So am I. What has been, or is there any one thing that is standing out to you this season thus far? Because how many episodes are we in? I don't know if it's 7, 8. I could be totally wrong, but okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think we're up to 8, right?
Okay.
I'm loving Monica. I am half Colombian, and the fact that she is also half Colombian, I have to automatically stan. She's been very like open and honest, even with the Jen Shah case, like people like to give her a lot of crap about her being friends with Jen Shah, but like people also forget that she was an informant for Jen Shah as well. I feel like she kind of stands and knows what's right, and she kind of just leans into that. And dude, I used to be such a Lisa Barlow fan, but this season has really shown me how ignorant and just how disgusting she's been using her words when it comes to her son's mission going to Colombia and saying it's a poor country.
Isn't it interesting? And there was no outrage when she said that. I was like, so
where's the Latino community now? Like, I had my jaw on the floor. I wanted to throw my phone across the room, and I was just like, oh my God, I totally see what Monica is saying, where like these things that she's spewing out, like, I love that. I love that. I love that. Like, let me see your ring. Oh my God. Like, it made me realize like, oh, I don't, and I see like the dynamic too, where she's like trying to make Monica come look like a villain in that dinner bonnet scene that they all had.
Oh,
And
yes.
the fact that Angie threw a glass and they were still calling Monica crazy, I was just like, I'm about to like go off right now.
I felt like Monica was being very gaslit because Heather started that messy game and Lisa immediately went for Monica's neck and called her a nasty woman. And then, which is
all she said
interesting.
was, she's like, you're ugly.
It's interesting where that nasty woman, because whenever I hear the phrase nasty woman, I know that for Trump used to say, you're just a nasty woman. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. But when she was like the nasty woman,
I mean, she does have friends that went to January 6th, so let's not forget that.
Right. Right. So I was like, they're like, people use the word gaslight. Like, I feel like they just throw out that term. But to me, I was watching Monica, whether you like her or not. Lisa answered that way. Monica was minding her business. And Lisa said that. But if that's how Lisa felt, cool. But then they should have let Monica and Lisa have their back and forth and not try to make it seem like Monica was at fault. I didn't agree with that.
The fact that they were like, why are you yourself, your cheery self? Like, you guys are going in on her. Like,
she said,
you want her to retaliate with throwing glass on the floor like Angie K? Because that's what I'm trying to figure out, what they were trying to get out of Monica.
That's a good question. What exactly were you trying to? It was almost like, were you trying to break her so then she could fall in line and not be her?
And then like her storyline with her mom, this I feel like was really great, because I think that's a storyline that we are all interested in watching more of. Her daughters as well, just her background. I just felt like it was relatable. Now, mind you, I am in the same level of everyone else where they're like, I want to see a rich housewife be on my television. I don't want to see Gina and her casita, because I'm kind of the same wavelength too of that. But like, I feel like Monica is kind of fabulous enough to be in the circle of women without having a mansion kind of a house, you know? Like, her storyline is a housewife storyline.
Yeah. I wish my thing with Monica is, I don't want, like, would Lisa continually talking about her $60,000 ring get on my nerves? Absolutely. But I don't want to make it, I'm going to shame you because you can afford this $60,000 ring and talk about it. Like, all your concern is about like, they talk about superficial things. So I get, like, I'm fine with Monica being on the show. I think she's funny. She's, she definitely is fiery, like, or even not fiery, but like, she'll come back. She's not going to let you talk to her just any kind of way. I just don't, the constant, like, using, instead of, did I just burp into the mic? I hope they didn't catch that. But using like the money to shame them, like, because that's what Housewives is a little bit, even though we know all the franchises aren't, but get away from that. Like, you can still tell your story without, like, again, Lisa, my ring is only $100. It's like, what? That isn't Lisa's problem. So, but I get why she, how she could feel the way she does being in those shoes, of course. My thing was, wow, you bought a $5,000 purse to fit in. There's a lot of people that couldn't even buy the purse to fit in. You know what I mean? So it's like,
right.
Okay. But I also get it at the same time. But that's my only thing with Monica. Like, don't use the money that they have to shame, but get into it with them, in every other aspect. Don't let them walk all over you. It's about to go down, like, though, these next episodes, but I was so disappointed in Heather for quickly turning on Monica like she did for Lisa.
Oh, I wasn't surprised. She's always up Lisa's ass. Like, the minute that Lisa was up against Monica, I was like, bye-bye, Heather. Bye-bye.
Let me tell you, I'm looking, I wanted to read something, why I did not screenshot it, because I knew I wanted to, wait, did I? I knew I wanted to bring it up to you, but you may have seen it. on social media. Of course, it's like every single time you see something, you think you'll see it again. But like on social media, everybody posts the same story 37 times in a row. Then when I'm going to find it now, I can't find it. But basically, they were saying how Monica, I guess the phone call. Oh my gosh, I can't. Like, people have been speculating.
The phone call that Heather gets?
Yes, it's not going to be about the lawsuit. It's going to be about something else with Monica. And I can't find it. I'm going to be so bad.
So it's not about the beauty lab lawsuit that she finds out in that phone call.
This is what people are speculating. They're saying that they think it's going to be something else. I'm so mad right now. So if y'all listening to this, y'all will probably have seen it by now, but I'm so mad that I can't find it, but I literally just saw it today. But basically, yeah, they're saying that that's not the phone call. It's something else to do.
With Monica.
And I'm blanking. Oh, I could throw. Well, I'm not going to throw it because I'm not Apple Care on this.
It wasn't because of her brother-in-law, because I did see a photo of her brother-in-law.
Girl, I was like, they are coming out of the like they are. How did they find? Well, I guess it would be easy. You just see who her husband is, see who her sister is, his sister is, and then that is wild though. But the thing I read said that they were in love.
Like for like 18 months or something. Yeah, I read that too. Like it was a real hot romance affair.
I'm like, okay, so that's crazy. I'm literally still you see, I'm scrolling and cannot find it. Anyway, and as soon as we get off, it's gonna pop up like, bang, and be like, But yeah,
that always happens.
Yeah, I'm liking this season. I'm enjoying Salt Lake City so much. What did you watch last night's episode?
I have not watched last night's episode yet, so I'm super excited for it. Yes. But yeah, no, I've been having a great time with Whitney. I'm actually liking Angie a little bit this season too. I'm just like coming around to the ladies where I was just like, and the fact that I'm going up against Lisa Barlow now, I'm just like, I never thought I would see that day. Like, I love my housewives to be a little delulu, but when it starts getting real with certain comments that they say, I'm just like, excuse me?
Yeah, that would have, I'm telling you, when she said that about Colombia and about the gun to the head and all that, I was like, okay. Like, no one is going to say anything about that, but okay. But yeah,
and the fact that he's not even there right now is so laughable.
Yeah, and
apparently he's in like Southern California.
Well, now they're saying, I think she said that I think he may have been there as of this weekend. Maybe I could be off, but basically his passport photo wasn't accepted. That was the holdup because he sent in a shirtless photo for his passport. Okay, slow blink. But they say that he is there now. So that was a holdup. Not that he wasn't going to go, that his passport was delayed because of that. But apparently he's there now. Yeah, when she made the comment about expect to have a gun to your head and get robbed, I was like, girl, like, what?
Well, and also the son's colonialism mindset of him saying like, yeah, I'm gonna go to this poor country and realize what what I'm missing out on in my original. I was just like, excuse me,
picking up on that. Yes, I'm gonna go to this poor place, these poor people, and realize and finally
I got it good.
Learn something. Like, wow. Yeah, I don't think people picked up on that. You're exactly right. This colonialism mindset. It's just wild to me how they get on Mary so much about her church and people say so much. And the backdrop that we have to this show. Exactly. It's like not really fond of people that look like you or I. You know what I mean? So didn't really.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that she accused Monica and stealing her ring too now, I'm just like, Lisa, you are showing your ass right now, and I'm not liking it.
Yeah, like the fact that like that's wild that it's even a discussion. No one they were not talking to her at BravoCon.
And Heather, of all people, say that she doesn't want to be filmed with her, yet she has been filmed with Jen Shaw, a felon, who she sided with
Heavily.
last season.
Heavily.
Yes.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay. It was something along the lines of the phone call that the phone call that Heather's going to get is that Monica was set to testify against Jen Shaw if Jen had. Now this is all alleged, but this is what I saw. You literally just brought it back. The post said that allegedly the call that Heather's going to get is informing her that Monica was set to testify against Jen if Jen had not pleaded guilty, and that the ladies are upset with Monica that she didn't just come out and tell them the truth, and that Monica gets so upset that she reveals where Heather actually got her black eye.
From Beauty Lab, right? Because I've been in the Reddits and I believe in that theory now.
Excuse?
So there's this theory. I'm probably going, your listeners, this is all alleged, but there's this Reddit theory that I've been highly, I wonder if I find the link, I'll send it to you, because it was from like last summer, where they basically said that Heather's black eye was a botched up mess with a injection of Beauty Lab service, and because it's part of her company, that's why she didn't say where she got the black eye. Because if you look at it, was such a great Reddit theory because it was showing like the color of the black eye on how it would like droop down, and how it didn't come out of nowhere. You see it in the earlier of the film of when they get to their rooms and whatnot, that her eye looks a little bruised.
Yes. I literally had a conversation with someone last year, and I can't remember who, and I didn't even take what I said seriously, but randomly was like, what if it's something that she had done, but just kind of like a throwaway, because you could see that she had a black eye before the next day. So when they were all like, I was like, of course I would be shocked waking up seeing it, but I would know that it came from somewhere, because if you go back and watch it, you can see it. It looked like she had a black eye at that dinner. It just wasn't.
And the timeline is just perfect too, of just like getting the timing of her getting injected, going on an airplane to go to the destination that they were going to. It just made complete sense. And the more that she didn't tell us of what really happened with the black eye, I'm like, oh, it was because she botched up in her eye.
Which is going to be wild if that is what it is, considering the lawsuit between Monica's counterclaim about Beauty Lab and a botched injection.
And guys, this is like a $2,000 botched injection that Monica is. Also, Bravo Docket, their podcast, did like a great breakdown of like the lawsuits and like everything that's been going against on Monica. Apparently, Utah is really strict about like not paying back debt. So you're just like getting dogpiled with more debt. So like a lot of like Monica's like lawsuits are just like not paying back her debt and being sued for not paying
back her debt.
Exactly. So it's a $2,000 lawsuit. Mind you, Jen Shaw scammed how many thousands, hundreds, probably millions of dollars of innocent civilians that didn't have the capacity to know what was going on and what they were getting into with Jen Shaw's like scheme.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's all not like hang out with Monica because it's a $2,000 lawsuit.
But it's like, what did Jen know about y'all? Did Jen get y'all to a place where she made y'all comfortable to spill y'all secrets? Because y'all could have just very easily iced her too. I'm just saying. So it's just interesting how now all of them have all this.
Jen has some probably magnetic charisma, because the fact that she is now teaching like aerobics or gym classes, Zumba, whatever, to what's Elizabeth, the girl with the deep voice?
I was getting ready to say Warren, not Warren, but yeah.
But you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
Like she like another schemer out of thousands of dollars, but she did it with people who actually were rich and had money. So like I have a little leeway with her. But I really do think Jen just has this sort of like I don't know how I would act
She
in a room
does.
with Jen.
She had the viewers. I'm telling you, and I'm gonna say it again. My husband will tell you. First episode of Salt Lake City, we were sitting on. We hadn't even moved to our new house yet. Hadn't even thought about buying a home, and sitting on the couch, and she was in that confessional, and she was talking. I might have been eating ice cream, and because certain things I remember, and I remember her saying that people thought she was Black, and I remember her saying, and I looked over at my husband and was like, no. And I let people try to convince me to be like, give her a chance. There's something about her. And it wasn't like I was picking up on a scheme or scam. It was just something about her that just got like, I was like, she is a no for me. And that charisma didn't do it for me. Like, yeah. But I know but there are people that have, if you want to consider it a gift, if you will, that can just turn it on and makes you forget everything that they've done to you, you know.
She is one of them.
Yeah, she's definitely one of them. Definitely. Oh my gosh, I'm loving Salt Lake City too. I'm already ready for the next episode already. I cannot wait. Meredith in this bathtub situation, which you will see on this episode, she clearly loves bathtub. It is the right amount of delusion and petty and just all of those things. I really feel like Salt Lake City is delivering, and it's still like, yes, we're episodes in, it's still delivering. I think sometimes we can have a tendency to be so excited that a show is coming back and want it to do well that we watch 1 or 2 episodes and we're like, oh my God, it's so great. It's so great. And then halfway through the season, you're disappointed. I feel like Salt Lake City is continuing to deliver on all fronts, as is Married to Medicine and Miami. So I'm really, really, really happy about that. You're going to have to come back because I know we're out of time, but you're going to have to come back to talk about Miami because I'm loving Miami this season too.
Oh, it's so funny because I haven't watched Miami like since when it first aired, season 1 with Larsa looking like OG Larsa. And then I've always listened to the recaps with like either you or Noor from Reality Is. I always caught up with the Real Housewives of Miami recaps. And now that I saw the whole entire thing, I just remember, oh, this is why I couldn't watch it, because Alexia and Marisol remind me so much of like certain family members in my group, where I'm just like, pero no, I cannot deal. But yes, I love Real Housewives of Miami. I'm glad that they're back in the main channel now. I don't know how do you feel about that? Because it was a little bit different on Peacock. I feel like it's kind of different on Bravo. I don't know. Do you feel the same way? It's kind of a different viewing.
I felt like there was more. I don't know why. And I felt like it was brighter and more something on Peacock. Like,
and I want the Miami. I want that. Yes, I want them back. Like, why did they take it away, Miami? I'm like, is that the Peacock and Bravo?
I felt like watching it on Peacock, I stepped into Miami and I was there with them.
Yes.
Watching it on Bravo makes it look like the other ones. Like,
no, I really do think, because Alexia did say that they treat Miami like the second, like the stepson of the whole franchise of the whole thing. And I was like, do they have like beef in Miami? I don't know. But it's a little different, the Peacock and Bravo viewing, from my opinion.
As soon as you did that, that's exactly what I was that is it. That is definitely it. Yeah, I know. And Larsa can go walk to the edge.
There's no coming back for Larsa this season. I'm sorry, but Gertie needs to Gertify Larsa.
Yeah. And it's a combination of her giving that look, that confused, with the added lip. That takes me out every time. She looks like, huh? And then you have these character type lips on your face that make, to me, looks. I honestly want to know though, do they look that way in person? You know how TV can make things bigger, people say, like, or they can make somebody look 10 pounds heavier. Does that happen with enhancements? Because she's starting to look like a character. Like, you know how when you are on a boardwalk or somewhere like at a fair or something, and they draw the character of yourself and make everything.
I was gonna say ventriloquist, like her jaw, like I don't know if it's the buccal fat that she did, but I've noticed too where it's a little like more structured, her jaw.
When she was running,
to like get into like women's features, but Larsa like hits the jugger. Like when it comes to like getting work done and her denying that that's her natural booty.
When she was running in them basketball shorts, I was just great. Girl, you speaking as a woman who was born with one of those, no ma'am. No ma'am. Absolute squats did not do that. Let's be clear. I was like, is she? And I think that's when I start to get offended. I don't get offended by much, but now I get offended because you think I'm stupid. You think that I'm going to believe what you're telling me. Like, so yeah, I am with Larsa. I am starting. Alexia really was like under my skin these last few seasons. But I think as the seasons change and different things, and you see them have relationships with other women on the cast, kind of like, oh, okay. So she seems to be a little bit different this season. And I wonder if it's reading comments, feedback, I don't know. But
like Alexia for sure.
From before. Yeah. You think so?
Oh yeah. And her getting, I know Shy from Y'all Ain't Mad Ain't Mad Enough podcast. Yes. I love her. She's like one of my
We need some more episodes, Shy.
Yes, I need her to do a Diddy episode, like talking head and everything. She has it all, the information.
Yes.
But she did say that I think Alexia got the ick with Todd after that 9-minute apology video to Anthony. And like, not to be like Adriana, but like, I do think that something is hitting the nose when it comes to like what's going on between them two.
Oh,
and I don't know if it's like that's really making her like be a little bit calm this season, just a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I really do think that she finds the ick with Todd.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I could, that because it's like, yo, what? Yeah, that's funny. Oh my gosh.
He did what? For how long?
9 minutes.
Oh my God.
Right. And Alexia fancies herself the star of the show. So it's like, I'm a star and you know, whatever. So I'm excited to see where Miami is headed. Vanessa, I know that you have to go. Thank you so much for doing this. You definitely will be back. We need to get more in depth into Miami. For right now, please tell everybody where they can find you. I'm going to include your links, but people listening, if they just want to go, let them know where you can find you and your podcast.
Yeah, you can find me wherever you stream your favorite podcasts. And you can also look us up on Instagram, Best Week Ever Podcast, where we discuss who's having the best and worst week ever in pop culture.
Thank you.
And the Housewives and Bravo is always in there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was getting ready to ask you a question, but I'm like, I can't. She got to go. So I'll have to wait until you come back. So thank you.
No, you have to come back on my show, too. I need your hot takes.
I swear. Girl, some of them might burn some people up. Y'all, thank you so much for tuning in to me and Vanessa. We will talk to y'all later. Bye.